I was the keynote speaker at our usual gathering once a year at the Lesser Demons Council here at Crowdfunding Hell. As I was telling them what bullshit crowdfunding could be, especially for most technologically advanced campaigns, we saw some familiar faces in the crowd. Let me tell you about Wormy Guy here, and then, of course, there may have been a few others. People like, say, Turban Head, Colonel Fingerlickin', and even the Middle Eastern madman. Wormy Guy in particular should be paying attention because he has not been making his quotas. But, well, like I said, it's all bullshit, isn't it? Well, on Kickstarter currently, there's this thing, the world's most appealing card reader. And that's a matter of opinion. It's a 5-in-1 card reader, Lightning, USB-C, micro USB, and USB 3.0, and it supports a TF card. Now, these kinds of things are not unusual. There are a lot of card readers that are out there that support multiple cards. But let's see what this one has to say for itself. That was pretty much it. Like I said, there's nothing particularly super special about this, and that's going to come into play a little bit later, I suspect. Another thing that's going to come into play later is the fact that the totals that you're seeing at the top of the screen for the campaign are listed in being in US dollars. Now, Hong Kong dollars, which is what they originally started with, are quite a bit more, but when converted into U.S. currency, it comes down to a pledged goal of only $7,653. That's awfully low for something like this, but then again, there is nothing particularly amazing or wondrous about this, unless, of course, you count the fact that you have this, I don't know what they call that, intersex, transsexual, whatever it is, that symbol is apparently being embossed on every one of them. Then for some people, that's pretty important. It certainly wouldn't be for me, but not for me or anyone else to judge. But it does kind of make it unique. Let's look a little further, and I'm going to start showing you why knowing the difference between US and Hong Kong dollars might be important to you. And as you can see here, as we've gone down, they talk a little bit about this wondrous necklace that you're going to get, a metal ring, which would allow it to go onto the necklace to hold your new 5-in-1 card reader. But here's the thing I'd like to draw your attention to, the pledge for the perk that you would get. In this case, the pledge is now in Hong Kong dollars of $240 or more, and it would get you one card reader and the accessories. Now, like they show you right here, it is about 31 US dollars for Hong Kong 240. And that's wonderful, well and good. I mean, exchange rates are exchange rates. You're not trying to get anything over on people, right? Or maybe they're like to think that they're telling you that you are. But remember that, because I really think it's going to be important for later. I'm not going to go through the rest of it, the wall of text and so forth. This is a pretty straightforward product. and everybody should be able to understand what it is. But now let's take a look at it in another light. A Chinese exporter site called Global Sources. They're reliable exporters, and you find them and you meet them. I assume they mean your needs. And what do we find on their site? Well, the Mini Design 32G 4-port multifunction USB flash ROM for iPod Type-C, Android, and PCB interface. But the only thing missing? That embossed symbol right here. But then again, those 50 pieces we're talking about, minimum order, you can pick those up for about $19.50 to $20.90 per piece US dollars. And the lead time they need is only 3 to 7 days. Now, remember what we saw earlier. That's right. If you were pledging Hong Kong dollars of 240 or more, which was, as they showed right here, about $31 US, you get one card reader and one accessory, which is considerably more than what that Chinese site is charging for the same thing, but without that little logo. Isn't that interesting? This is probably an example of something that is called whitelisting, and it's getting to be an incredibly big problem on Kickstarter and other crowdfunding sites. Far too often you are finding the same, or at least similar enough to at least be the same, items that you're finding on Kickstarter and other places being crowdfunded, already manufactured, waiting your money for delivery on many Chinese sites like AliExpress. Why is that? They are doing something called whitelisting, as I said before. Now, what is whitelisting? Whitelisting is taking an item that can be purchased elsewhere, having your logo or whatever specialty thing you want placed on it, and then reselling it as your own product. Now, there's nothing particularly wrong with it. It's been done in retailing for decades, if not almost hundreds of years. But the real problem here is that there were supposed to be rules, and just about every crowdfunding site has those rules that says you're not supposed to be doing that. Everything that you put out there that you say is your product means it is your product, that you brought it into being, that you didn't buy it elsewhere just to be able to retail it later to a third party. This is a real problem to me because what happens is they're taking advantage of people that go to crowdfunding sites and don't ask my very obvious question before they pull the trigger on backing it. Is it available someplace else? And in this case, you have to admit, it's definitely available someplace else, and you too can order it there. All you need is to be able to make enough of a bulk order. You could even have a bunch of people or friends go in together and do exactly what the crowdfunder is doing. Well, as always, it's your money. Spend it wisely.